But Frank like started to make a good point. I kind of want to start to move towards that. Is recognizing burnout and how, like, for me, I was hitting burnout really hard last year, and I didn't even recognize that it was burnout because it's not always that obvious. So I kind of want to go around and talk about, how does burnout manifest within you? Because for me, sometimes it's just like being more irritable. It's like slight things like being more irritable, or just being like really tired at the end of the stream. Whereas like streaming, I'm enjoying, I'm having fun time, but afterwards I'm just like, I don't want to do anything. So I want to lay on the couch. Like I'm like over exhausted.
For me, it was just the overall dread of even streaming, like waking up in the morning and being like, oh, I just don't want to, which is so weird because like 2 years ago, I was like, this is my dream, or 3 years ago or whatever. I was like, this is my dream to do this every day. It's going to be awesome. And then you get to a point where, I mean, for me, I guess I can't really speak for everybody else because I stream Just Dance and like nobody does that. Or there's like a few people who do it, but it's not very common. But like for me, it's like hearing the exact same songs over and over and over again. I have so much respect for like artists that go on tour like for months and perform the same songs every night, because I'm like, I'm gonna go insane if I have to hear another Ariana Grande song. I'm gonna lose my mind if I hear Rasputin again, or Cotton Eye Joe, or like some random song that I've heard a bajillion times. I think it really was just like waking up and being like, I just don't want to. For me, it was like, I don't even think it was really gradual. It kind of just hit me out of nowhere, where I like just one day it was like, I just can't. I just don't even have the energy. Like I wake up and I already have a headache and I'm like, I just don't want to. That was kind of my sign. And I was able to take a couple weeks to like take less time to dance and more time to just like play games that I wanted. Like I made a backlog list of like all these old games that I always wanted to play, like Final Fantasy VII and Grim Fandango and all these games I never got to play. And I just went through it throughout like the whole year, and it was awesome. So I kind of like went off topic, but my way of realizing it was just waking up and being like, I don't wanna.
Yeah. But so what about you, Frank, with
burnout for me is very, very different. I don't so much dread going live as I find myself really sleepless. I get really, really in my head, and I find myself like when I go to bed, I'm constantly just thinking about my to-do list for the next day, to the point where I lay in bed for hours thinking about, oh, that's another thing that I should add. Oh, that's the thing that I could do right now. And a lot of times I'll even get out of bed to just do something on the list, because I know that in doing so, I'll actually like be able to sleep at least a little bit. But that for me is like, you need to take a break. You need to, because none of this is as urgent as you feel like it is. And when I start to do that, when I start to just like cycle in my head, I'm like, that's not going to go away until I take a step away and really start to prioritize what actually is so important that I need to get it done tomorrow, and I need to get it done immediately, versus like sitting in bed and thinking about my endless to-do list, because there's always a to-do list. And it's when I start to think like everything needs to happen tomorrow, because I put extra pressure on myself, and I think that pressure starts to really fuel the burnout. So I don't actually like start to dread stream, like every once in a while, but it's usually fueled by anxiety of not getting other things done, that I'm like, streaming becomes like the least important thing on my to-do list. It's really bizarre. But that's usually like, it gets like
how
backwards.
Interesting. Yeah.
It gets backwards. Like I'm doing all of these things for stream to be better, but I can't actually afford the time to go live in order to get those things done.
Oh, that's
it becomes like one of the least important things in my brain. And I think it's a strange way that manifests, like burnout manifests for me, but I think the sleeplessness is probably relatable, because I have talked to a couple of other people that are like, yeah, the to-do list, like cycling in my head, I definitely have experienced that. But anxiety on top of it, I think, is a little added fun twist that I get to endure. But yeah, like I said, sometimes it's getting out of bed and doing something on my to-do list, and then the next day I just like take a break and take a step away. so that I know I can get back to my normal sleep cycle, because everything gets worse when you don't sleep properly.
That's
Yes.
absolutely true.